Yo, so you've made it to part 2 of Leo's flow of offense. Welcome back. In part 1 we discussed how to approach very defensive opponents, or turtles you might say, and we basically broke down what the flow of offense actually means. If you haven't watched that video, then I strongly suggest that you go back to that video and watch it before watching this one. But in this video though, we will look at the moves that generally help us deal with opponents who will press buttons. But how do we know if they are in this state or not? When approaching the opponent, see if they try to interrupt you out of your moves. They might get intimidated by you, getting close. So they will try to beat you out of your moves with something fast like a jab or a down forward one, right? Another way to know is when they block your plus frames, they make sure to press buttons after that to avoid having to deal with your pressure. That's why I call this state interrupt, because the opponent wants to stop any pressure coming their way with fast buttons. So once you notice that, then you can punch them for it pretty hard. This is when you get to use Leo's counterhits, Magic 4. Leo's Magic 4 is definitely not the best, but it's still useful, especially against opponents who want to interrupt you every time. Down forward 2+3. In my opinion, this move works a lot better as a counter hit tool than, something to build pressure with. I mean, it is good, it is +5, but the main issue for me is that it's very slow and it's borderline reactable. I mean, I've played players who can react to it every time, so it's cool, but it works a lot better as a counter hit tool, especially in this state when the opponent wants to interrupt you every time. You can use this to combat it, when you get close and the opponent wants to jab interrupt you. That's when you can use down forward 2+3 to go under it and possibly get a counter hit, right? QCF1, same thing with QCF1. For me, the most important thing about this is that it high crushes, and of course the counter hits. QCF2, down forward 1-2. These are actually a very important counter hit tool for Leo. And of course you have down 1. But like I mentioned in an older video, I feel like down 1 isn't really a move you should use up close. I mean, especially when they are in this state, right? When they are in this state, when they want to jab interrupt you every time or down forward 1 you when you get close, then down 1 won't really be a good idea to do up close, but definitely at range 2 or 2.5 or maybe further, a bit further, then that's when down 1 is very, very effective in my opinion, because fast moves in Tekken tend to have shorter range. So when you get at this range, right, around 2.5, then you don't really need to be worried about getting clipped by something fast, because fast moves don't have much range in general, right? Yeah. From that range, and it certainly will work when they are in this state. In this state, a lot of opponents tend to hesitate, press buttons in doubt or out of fear, or have bad habit of jabbing when they shouldn't be jabbing. So they become prone to getting counter hits quite often. That's when you can really take advantage of that and go full counter hit mode. It also means that you can bait out their attacks with movements. Like I said earlier, when you get closer, they want to interrupt you, right? So if you know that they will want to interrupt you, you can bait out their attacks with movements. And that's when you use wave punishments to beat them. Like down for 2, of course. You have to 1 and forward for 2. And then there's another mode that the opponent can enter, which is the aggressive state. The reason why I separated interrupt and aggressive is because interrupt is still, the opponent is still pressing buttons, but it is still kind of like a defensive mechanism for the opponent. It's like a way for them to stop your pressure, right? So unlike the aggressive state, an opponent who is in the interrupt state is actually not trying to initiate an attack. He's not trying to start his offense. He's actually trying to stop you from keeping up your offense, in a sense. And then on the other hand, when the opponent is in an aggressive state, they're not trying to interrupt, they're not trying to read anything we're doing. Basically, at this point, they just don't care about anything we're doing, they just want to attack and initiate their offense. So when they're being extra aggressive against us, then at this point, we should play even smaller than we usually do to avoid getting clipped or counter hit by their moves. So basically, we'll try to use less down 2, less down 1. That's assuming they are very close to us. So down forward 2 plus 3. At this point, it can be good, but it's still risky because of how slow it is. And basically, you want to play very small. We can call it small Tekken, right? At this point, you can play small Tekken, which is basically 13 frames and down. So down forward once. To your 12 frame magic 4 and jabs, of course. And in these states, when the opponent is seeing red and just going full offense, movement actually destroys that. That's the hard counter for that. So you can always start using your movement, your side steps. Hell, even sidewalks can destroy that. So when you are this close, side steps and sidewalks are way more effective than they are when you are further, right? So when they are attacking you, they actually tend to get close, right? So at this point, you actually don't even have to use attacks. You can just use movement and destroy them. Like step and block. That's very effective. Or just you can even sidewalk some stuff. It all depends on what they are doing, but yeah, you get what I'm saying. The flow of offense provides a very, very, very basic look. It simplifies Tekken for us, but that doesn't necessarily mean that Tekken becomes simple, because we still need to adapt to the opponent, right? And in the heat of a moment, sometimes you don't really see what you need to adapt to, and sometimes the intentions of the opponent can still be very unclear or abstract. So yes, it is a basic strategy, it is a basic concept, but applying that concept in a real match can be very hard sometimes. A final tip I have for this video would be to use the dash blocking technique. It's a pretty useful way to know what the opponent is up to, except if you know that the opponent is aggressive and is trying to oppress you with their moves, then you don't really have to use it anymore. At this point, you can let them kill themselves with movement, like I mentioned. Okay, that was it for this video. Hopefully I wasn't rambling too much. Thank you for watching. Thank you for liking the video. Yeah, take care. Peace.